Supreme Off-Road presents the ABSA Off-Road Championship third leg, the 2006 Toyota 1000 Desert Race. Gaborone, the capital city of Botswana, played host for the third round of the 2006 ABSA Off-Road Championship Series, and the city was ready for an event that has over the past 25 years become synonymous with tough conditions, testing roads and unstinting spectators who love the fast-paced action of classic off-road racing. The start area at Game City west of the capital was packed to the brim as competitors and teams did those vital last-minute settings, tuning and changes that would be needed for a mammoth 1,000 kilometers of slog through the sub-Saharan bush. And in 06, there was more of it than ever before. Bush, that is. A massive amount of rain, by far the most measured in these parts for many a year, had fallen, making the route a veritable jungle out there. Even the clerk of the course, Bull Viljoen, had never seen anything quite like it out there.
The difference this year compared to other years is the amount of rain they've had over the last 3-4 months. The bush is very, very thick. I've never seen it like this, not in 10 years. Paint work is going to get damaged. The route itself is probably 50-60% new. A lot of the old gripes from previous years about certain rocky sections are gone or have been removed and replaced with other ones which are just as bad. So the shocks are still there. The water levels in some of the rivers are higher than we've ever seen them. The guys are going to have to drive carefully and use a bit of thought this time. I think that's the biggest change. It's not a normal desert race where you can put your pedal down and go. They're going to have to think about it.
And that has always been the key to the Toyota Desert Race: thought processes. It's a race that has to be tackled with circumspection. It's a fine balance between all-out speed and caution when it's necessary. The prologue time trial to sort out the start order for the race proper was scheduled for a testing 52 kilometers, and an air of expectancy dominated proceedings before the off. Navigators were taking their race notes pretty seriously. One little slip out there and you're lost. And in the Botswana bush, that's one television program you don't exactly want to star in.
This event is actually, now that is annual, is very popular in Botswana. It triggers quite a lot of domestic tourism in Botswana. People come from all over the country to travel to watch the race. They've already divided themselves amongst teams. They know which team exactly they are going to, they are going to support. Our hotels, our restaurants, our liquor outlets, they've made quite a lot of business, and there's a party in Gaborone normally when this race is there. There's also quite a lot of selling of goods by hawkers along the route, so it generates quite a lot of income during one weekend. And our calculations are going at about 1.8 million pula. Every weekend they come, expecting that that is going to increase because there are many more people coming. So it triggers quite a lot of domestic tourism. It brings quite a lot of foreign revenue, which is actually what we need in Botswana. And tourism is about anyway foreign exchange revenues to boost it. Regional tourism is growing because there's a lot of South African vehicles crossing over and South African spectators crossing over. And as the sports and tourism, they are there to actually forge peace between nations and between people. And really we enjoy it quite a lot in Botswana. It is quite a big sports tourism event we have ever had in Botswana.
In the host camp, driver Mark Ronier felt that they'd had a solid start to the season.
I think in essence they weren't bad. I mean, we had a no finish in the first one, but the second one we were having a good run. Unfortunately the bakkie is very, very new, so we've had a little bit of teething problems, but I think we've done a fair amount of work on the bakkie again, and I think the Hilux we'll get a good shot at the prologue today, so it will give us a better feeling of where we actually, you know, in the championship chase. So we'll have to wait and see. The desert race is always a highlight in my racing. I always look forward to it. Although it's been such a long event, I enjoy the event. And I think being in such a much faster vehicle, a vehicle that can take a lot more punishment, I'm really looking forward to this year. I want to see what the likelies of Hannes and Duncan's pace is like, and and see where we're sort of lying with this whole thing.
Cronje and his co-driver Chris Birkin still had to open their account on the season's points list, and they knew that the 1000 would be tough to do it on.
I think every navigator in the country dreads the first 100 kilometers heading out when we're in the riverbeds and stuff, because it's very tricky in the riverbed, out the riverbed. It's easy to get disorientated. And yeah, the marking normally is quite good, but unfortunately some of the guys ride over the markers on bushes. We've had incidents where the cattle eat the markers. So it really is difficult. Once you're out into the more open desert type terrain, then it's not so bad. It's more forks and things like that. But yeah, all of us, the first 100 k's out and the 100 k's in is a nightmare. I think we all were a bit nervous about it and dreading it, especially this year being a bit of a new route.
As for the Ford lads, they were in a good position atop the points log after a fine start.
We're very positive because it's all come a little bit sooner than we expected. You know, with a brand new project and a brand new car, we weren't expecting the wind to come as quickly as it did. So Sugarloaf was fantastic, but as you said before, that's history. We now move on to the next race. This is also one of my favorite races because it's a long endurance race. The longer and harder, the better for me. I really enjoy the endurance races. Having won it before too, I kind of like know what to expect, and we're really looking forward to it. The car's on tip-top shape, so there's no reason why we shouldn't do well. Again, it's going to be a good test for the cars. Again, they're still new. We haven't done a long distance like this in the thick sand, so it's going to be a test on all the components of the car. But we're really looking forward to it, and it should really go well.
Class E leader Manfred Schroeder in the Ford knew that the Botswana race has different demands to the previous race.
Yeah, unfortunately, they can't always drive like we did Sugarbelt. You know, they just went flat out. It suited the car. This is a complete different approach to the race. Obviously today we'll be pushing a bit, trying to get a decent starting order, and then tomorrow you're going to have to sort of try and hold back. I know it's hard, you know, every now and again you take a guy's catching you want to push. Do you push hard, get away with it, you'll win, or do you push hard, you might crash. So it's a difficult decision.
Schroeder, who is ultra smooth and has a reliable vehicle, has had a recent spate of drama at the desert race, and the pressure was on.
We won our class here for 3 years, and for the past 3 years we haven't finished. So, I mean, the pressure's on us. One of the years I hit a tree, so it was my mistake, and the other 2 years we had mechanical failures. The pressure's definitely on us to try and do well. It's a long race.
In the Nissan Race Sonics camp, the team was readying itself for a long journey, and co-driver Johan Gerber knew that he and his pilot Kutsela Beskaghni would have their work cut out for them.
At the moment it's a long race, you know, the pressure is on. If you take it to 1,000 kilometers, it should actually count twice because it's 2 races in one. So I think the right strategy is to finish. One should take this race in different stages, push hard in the prologue. Day one is a matter of survival, and see what competitors are back still in the race. If it's people challenging for the class, then you've got to push on the last day. Otherwise, you've got to drive with your head on this one. You know, it's no use going in with a strategy of running a sprint race, and it's actually a Comrades, because this is the Comrades of the National Championship, and you've got to tackle it that way.
And no one knew that better than 3-time winner Hannes Grobler.
Yeah, this race is always a long race. It's 1,000 kilometers. So, you know, it's not always the guy that wins the first day that's winning the race. You know, a lot can happen on the race. And, you know, I think the guy that take a good pace on the race, fast enough to keep the car in one piece and the bodies in one piece, he'll make it to the end, and then the guy that comes first at the end, he wins the race.
After the first 2 rounds of the championship battle in the Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal, it was Grobler and his co-Francois Jordan tied at the top with Woolridge and his left-hand man Kenny Scholthammer with the win apiece. In the special vehicle category, the competition would be tough, and one man who was back in a space-frame car after trying his hand with a Ford SP was Shamir Warayava in a Total Motorsport Porter with his co-driver VZ van Sail.
Well, I think this car here behind us is it's much more narrow than the other cars. It has a suspension travel. It's the latest technology. you know, on a straight and a roughs and a tights, I think this thing should be to do good, and the four-wheel drive vehicles will definitely beat us in a really, really tight stuff. But when it comes to the rough, and then I think this thing will outshine the four-wheel drives.
In the Motorride Camp, boasting 2 national champions, there was a healthy dose of respect for the distance and the terrain of the Toyota Desert 1000.
No, I think the Desert Race is always 2 races in one, and it's something that you tackle day by day, basically, and that's the way I've always done it, whether I'm on the motorcycle, whether last year on the pickup, and now, I mean, look, sure, it's a different game now. I'm in the Sandmaster, and what to expect. It's only what we'll get out there, and yeah, I think the last day, Sunday coming home, is the day when you really save the car to the overnight, and I think that's most guys' strategy, to try and stay with the leaders at the overnight stop on Saturday night, and then Sunday is the real race home. Hopefully everything's okay, car's good, and yeah, but for me, Sandmaster, it would be really great to be able to win it on a bike, in a production car, and now in a Sandmaster. I mean, that would just be the cherry on the top, but I'm not even thinking about that. Points at the moment is what we need, not finishing Cape Town and getting a 3rd at Sugarbelt, and you know, the championship is still a long, long way away, so sure, would be great to have 3 wins like that. It will probably be history, I think.
For Alfie's teammate Evan Hutchison, the 2nd national champion in the Motorride outfit, there's a lot to play for.
Sugarbelt was an unexpected victory for us. We didn't think that the big heavy cars would have been that easy to maneuver around the sugarcane fields, but yeah, we won that. We're very happy with that win. But that's history. We've now moved on to the Desert Race. This is a huge race. It's 1,000 kilometers. It's not your average event. You know, we've got to remember that it's 1,000 kilometers, 3 days of racing. So it's going to take a lot of intelligence and a lot of clever decisions that need to be made to be able to get to the last day, to be able to race anybody at the end of the day. So yeah, Motorride's put together a good team. We've put a huge amount of preparation into all the cars. I'm expecting a victory from one of the Motorride cars. But yeah, talk about victories maybe on Saturday night, and if we're still running, we can talk about who's going to win the race. At the moment, we're just hoping for the best, hoping that all the preparation that we put in takes us through to the end. Yeah.
For the defending special vehicle champions Terence Marsh and Mike Whitehouse, consistency has been their middle name, and they finishes in the first 2 events of 06.
Yeah, Sugarbelt, we had a lot of difficulty. We had brake fade throughout the event, and whether it be as dangerous as it is, the margin of error is really small there. You can go off the road and go down the side of mountains. So with the experience of brake fade, we really had to tap off, and one of those unfortunate events where you've got to consolidate and really just bring the car home.
Go! Marsh is a solid driver who limits his risk-taking, while Whitehouse is known as reliable, and the same can be said for their Nasher mobile bat.
The strategy for the desert, there's a very high attrition. It's a very, very tough event. I'm predicting there's probably going to be about 12 finishes out of the special vehicles out of the 38-40 entries. So really it's really just to get through day 1. And then from day 2 you can kind of have a look at where the placings are, you know. So the strategy will change, but it really is one of survival in the desert.
And that's why the National Mobile pair find themselves atop of the leaderboard with a 5-point margin over Brandon Harkus, who won the first event of 06 in his solo effort. Hutchison and Achim Bergman are tied for 2nd after their win in KZN. At the top 10 draw for starting positions in the prologue, 02, 03 and 04 winner Nissan's Hannes Krobler and co-driver Francois Jordan drew a number they like, while the Ford lads would get the 4th bite at the cherry. And so the top 10 got to know whether they would follow in the dust or get a fairly soft surface to fly over. In a tough and testing 52k time trial, a great place to get the cars set up just right for 2 long days with more than 900 kilometers worth of travails waiting.